Right. Welcome, everyone, to the Macro International Economics course at Volkshochschule Wien. I'm Mr. Wanik. I will be your instructor for this term. And can anyone guess where I am right now? Where am I? Well, just by my voice and accent, you could probably narrow it down to a few countries, right?
The Netherlands, maybe?
Nope, not the Netherlands. Nope.
From USA?
Yes, United States. All right, I'm in the United States. Anyone have a closer guess? Because the United States is a big country. Any guesses as to where I am in the United States? No? All right, let me screen share. See if we can narrow it down where I am. Okay, does that help a bit? All right, let's go a little further down. So Chicago is not far from me. I live in this city called Milwaukee, just north of Chicago. And I live right in this area near the lake. The university is just north of me over here. I live right in this area. Where I teach, where I spend most of my time is out here. And I'll zoom in on that a bit. Let me go to satellite view. My college right here is right here. I don't know why it's not showing up the name. So this is Waukesha County Technical College. We have about 15,000 students. Most of the students are part-time. We have about 3,000 or so full-time students and a total of about 15,000 students. As you can see, it's mostly parking lots because everyone must drive to school. There's not much public transportation there. You can take a bus, but it's not as convenient as driving. So that's where I am full-time for teaching. Right now, I'm at my house teaching for you guys. Anybody know what time it is for me right now? All right, so right now my clock says 8:57 a.m. So I'm 7 hours behind you. This is why your class is starting so late in the day, is because I'm over here to teach it, and so that's why it's starting so late. So that's just a FYI where that's at. How is it that I'm teaching at the FH? So I've been teaching at the FH since 2006, so many years already. I did study in Gießen, Germany when I was a graduate student, and I have some friends from that exchange. One of them, her name is Margit Schwarzenstaller. She works at WIFO, the Economic Institute in Vienna. Was visiting her one time, and she said, "Hey, I'm teaching at the FH. Can you come and talk about this certain topic in English?" And so I did, because they're trying to get more English at the university there. And they said they're starting a bilingual economics program for the Unternehmensführung, the entrepreneurship group. And they asked if I would try one semester of teaching economics. And so how many years later? 17 years later, I'm still teaching there. So I teach there, excuse me, I teach there 3 times a year. I go in spring to teach the entrepreneurship group. I was just there in the summer to teach the marketing and sales group, and then I'll be coming to work with you guys in a few weeks in October. So I'm there quite often for teaching. In addition, I lead a study abroad where I take students from the United States for my spring classes, and they start to learn online with the students in Vienna. And then I take my students to some countries in Europe, and then they come to Vienna for a week and study and then go back home. So it's study abroad. The last time I tried to do it was in 2020. It got canceled a week before we left because of COVID. So I'm trying to start it again for next year. Hopefully it'll get working again. Next year, I want to go to London and then to Vienna. It used to be Amsterdam, Vienna, Paris. Trying to not make it so much jumping around so they get more experiences there. So prior to being in education, I was in corporate strategy. I used to be a consultant for large corporations on strategic change management, and did it for about 5 years, but that wasn't my thing. I really enjoyed teaching. So here I am working with you and the others here and stuff like that. So questions before we get started on the content? No? All right, let me just screen share some things we're going to cover today and how the day will work. Did a bit of a welcome here. This course is only 30 units. What I mean, only 30 units. It's not a lot of time for talking about some of the complex issues we'll be dealing with. So the book you'll have is an online book. And typically that book costs about $150. But I got it gratis, free for you. So you'll get access to that today. We're only going to be using parts of 15 chapters, not the whole book. But understand we have about 75 hours of coursework in these next 5 weeks, so plan accordingly time-wise. We'll get to the book later. What I want to do first is talk about some basic economic concepts, just to kind of get our mindset to the English terminology and to the concepts of a refresher. And then we will register with McGraw-Hill, which is the online book, and then I'll give you some time to work on the online book content today. So questions, what we're going to be doing and talking about today. Okay. Let me ask you this. When you asked your friends, or not asked your friends, when you told your friends you have international macroeconomics, I'm sure you told some of your friends or family. How did they react to it? What was their thought to you? What did they say to you? Was it, yes, finally you have a class like this? Given the smiles, I'm assuming maybe not. What were some of the reactions you got?
They say that it's hard,
Okay, it's hard.
all the concepts and the theory.
Okay. Anyone else?
Maybe that finally we could be able to explain them some facts or some things to them, because I don't think everyone kind of understand some things that happen in the news and those things.
Good. Hopefully you'll have that, right? Anyone else want to share what they've heard? Have all of you had an economics class already? Just some degree. Because that'll be important. I have some basic information in case you need some of it online, but all right. So what's your definition of economics? You need to start there. What is economics to you? How do you explain economics to your friends? And by the way, this is a wall in my living room that during lockdown I painted with a clear coat so I could stand and dry erase. I couldn't sit and teach. I just can't do that, right? So I'm in my living room at home and I'm going to write on my wall. All right, economics, what is it to you? What's your definition? What comes to mind?
Kind of like a science.
Okay, science, yep. It's a social science, right? So we'll start with that. Economics is the study. Oops, write a little bit better here. of. All right, we're back online. I don't know what happened. So let's continue on with the definition of economics. What is it to you? How do you define it? It's the study of, right? It's a science. The study of what? What would come to your mind?
I would say it's the study of how a society produces products and services and
Right.
distributes products and services.
Right. It's a study of how, yeah. You'll see different definitions out there, right? How do we allocate scarce resources for everybody, right? The definition I'm going to use in this class, it is the study of the choices people make due to scarcity. So that encompasses like everything else you'll see. So we talk about the distribution of goods and services, the production of goods and services, and things like that. It'll all come down to this definition here. Economics is a study of the choices people make due to scarcity. So what kind of choices are we looking at? Is we need to look at that our choice, our decisions we make, always have that the benefit is greater than the cost. We're always looking at any decision you make, the benefit of that decision is going to be greater than the cost. The difficulty is always measuring those benefits and costs because you can't always see them, and some are long-term, things like that, right? So right now, what scarcity are you facing at this very moment? All of us are facing the same scarcity of something right now. What could that be?
Rooms and real estate, housing.
Some people have a lot of real estate, right? But right now, all of us, I mean, you're right, that is scarcity there. But all of us, even if you don't have housing, you rent, whatever else, what is something basic we all are experiencing right now that is scarce?
Money.
Money. Is money scarce for Bill Gates?
The climate
Not
change.
really.
Okay, let's stick with the money first. Is money scarce for Bill Gates? It's scarce in the sense that it's not unlimited, that meaning he needs to make choices with the money that he has. Okay, maybe he's got 60 billion, but he can't pay off the US debt with it, right? So he still has to make choices with it. So scarcity just means it's limited to the extent you have to make a choice. Right now, we are all having the scarcity of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. We have the scarcity of time. So you had to make a choice with your time right now. You could choose to be here, which you have done, or you could choose to do something else. What's that something else you could be doing right now? What would be some other things you'd be doing? Who would name the next best thing you could be doing right now?
In Spain, we call it opportunity cost. I don't know if it's the
Yeah,
same.
that's opportunity cost, right? But I'm trying to
Okay.
get to the point of what, okay, so what is your opportunity cost right now? What else could you be doing right now?
All sorts of things. I could have been in a bar right now, or could have done other classes homework.
Right. So it's always the next best thing. If you weren't here right now, what's the next best thing you'd be doing?
Sitting in a bar.
Sit in a bar. Okay. So what you did is you said, okay, I get the benefit right now of learning economics. I'm missing out on sitting in a bar. And what you're hoping is that the benefit of being here is greater than the cost that you're missing out on being in the bar. It could be working, it could be sleeping, it could be studying for other things. Yes, this is what's called opportunity cost. The value of the next best choice when a decision is made. We do this all the time. Whether you realize it or not, you're thinking about, hey, when I spend money, what else could I be spending that money on? Because money is scarce. When we as a society decide to use land for housing or for industrial use, we're saying, okay, what's the opportunity cost of doing this? And this is a good decision. In economics, we're always looking at for those decisions, is the benefit greater than the cost? If so, that is a good economic decision. So again, economics study the choices people make due to scarcity. We look to see that the decisions, the choices they make, have the benefits greater than the cost to be a good economic decision. This leads us to the concept of opportunity cost. Because of scarcity, we have to make choices with what is scarce. We have to make choices with our time. We have to make choices with money. We need to make choices with the amount of land available. All kinds of things are scarce, right? There's lots of scarcity happening. And so we are always trying to say, what is the value of the next best thing, the cost in there? And is this benefit of what I'm doing right now greater than that cost? Now, difficulty is measuring all the benefits and the cost. Right now, you don't know all the benefits you're getting from being in class right now. You might get done with class and say, nope, but I had a better time at the bar, right? So it is that we don't always have the tools to measure all the benefits and costs, and sometimes we can't do it until later, okay? So take a break here for a second. Welcome to those who are able to come in now. Remember, video needs to be on for the FH policy so that not only can I see you, but others can see you and such like too, so you get credit for that. That way I can get some engagement that way too, to see how the reactions are to things, okay? Welcome. Again, this is being recorded, but the recording is not made public. It will only be available to those in class, and I'll post that later today sometime usually. So the first part before my internet went down, I'll put with this one and put it all together and things like that. So thoughts, questions on this so far? Okay, now economics is broken down to a lot of different other subcategories. There's microeconomics, that is the study of decisions that individuals make. There's macroeconomics, the bigger picture, decisions such as how do we deal with unemployment, inflation, government debt, things like that. Then we also have money and banking. And we also have international economics. So this course is taking international economics and focusing on the macro part. Now we need some micro tools in order to work with the macro concepts that are coming up later. So today we're going to do some introduction of those microeconomic tools so that we can proceed with the concepts coming in with macro. Everybody has this so far? I'll erase this. You can always go back to the video for anything I put up on here. Okay, so what else we need to talk about? Is the concept of marginal thinking or marginal analysis. Anybody know what it means in economic terms to think on the margin or to analyze on the margin? The benefit cost analysis. I don't have spell check on my board. I do misspell quite often, so watch for that. Benefit cost analysis of decisions in units or increments of an ongoing activity. Okay, so you'll see various definitions of this if you look it up, and mine change sometimes too, but it has the main components in here, okay? So, okay, who are my coffee drinkers in here? Who likes their coffee in the morning? Okay, is it, okay, Stanmira, can I ask you about it? Stanmira, can I ask you about that?
Yes.
Okay, and I hope I pronounced your name right. If I don't, I went through
Yeah.
names earlier. Let me know if I need to correct it or not. All right. So I'm a coffee drinker too. For those who didn't see, I have my Vienna, Austria mug today because we're teaching over here. So that first cup of coffee, it's pretty good, right? Gets going, wakes you up. Okay. Did you have a second cup?
Sometimes yes, I do.
Okay. What
But
about a
today,
third cup?
no.
Okay. Have you had times where you've had a third cup?
One after another, no. But
Okay, but
throughout the day, I
eventually.
have.
Okay.
Yes.
But did you have a fourth cup?
No.
Okay. You see how this is marginal thinking? What you did is you did a benefit cost analysis on your cups of coffee, the units of an ongoing activity. What you said is that first cup of coffee, the benefit is greater than the cost. The second cup, you said, yep, benefit's greater than the cost. The third cup, you said, nope, I don't get as much benefit and the costs are greater. So what happened is you change your decision to have another unit based upon the benefits and costs changing. Now we actually make more of our decisions on the margin than any other thing else. Think about when you go out with friends for pizza or something like this, right? You get a big pizza out there. That first slice is good. Second slice is pretty good. Not as good as the first one, but you're starting to get full. At some point, at 3, 4, I don't know, whatever slices, you stop. Why? Because you're not getting as much benefit anymore and the costs start to increase for you. There's costs of money, time, comfort level, things of this sort, right? And so we're doing these decisions all the time on the margin. It's called marginal thinking. It's called the analysis of in increments and in units. And that's important in economics, especially microeconomics, to understand why people and businesses decide a lot of things that they do. So can anyone share their own example of where they've experienced opportunity cost or this more difficult concept of marginal thinking recently?
Well, I think nowadays in our generation, there's a new term called FOMO, which is kind of like opportunity costs.
The fear of
As
missing
in-
out? The fear of missing
Yes,
out, you mean?
yeah, we all want to go to this party or this event, but we're missing out on this event or staying at home with my girlfriend or whatever. And then I think we've all been in such situations where you decided to stay home and watch a movie with whoever. And then the party in the end was the biggest party of all time, and you missed it. So,
But you don't know that cost ahead of time, right? You don't always know that cost.
no, that's true. That's
right?
true.
So let's just take the idea of going out at night as a marginal thinking concept, right? When do you decide not to stay out anymore, right? You eventually go home, right? However, it's a marginal concept, each additional hour, right? So when you go out, you're with your friends, that first hour is a lot of fun and maybe even the second hour, maybe in the third hour. But at some point, fifth hour, sixth hour, seventh hour, whatever you want to pick, you decide to go home. You change your mind. You're saying the benefit of that next hour isn't worth the cost of it, or you're not getting as much benefit anymore because people are leaving, it's slowing down, you're getting tired. But you can break that down into increments to say at some point the benefit costs change and you change your decision to be there. So what marginal thinking does, what marginal analysis does, is it breaks down this concept of opportunity cost into increments, into units to say, when do we decide to change a behavior because of the benefits and costs changing? Does that help clear that a little bit? Takes a bit to get some understanding on that. All right, here's another example. In the morning, when your alarm goes off, you got a button on there, right? Called the snooze button, where you can hit it to give you another 9 minutes of sleep, right? You know what I'm talking about? Your alarm goes off, you hit the button, and it'll go off for 9 minutes, but go back on again, right? We call it snooze button. How many of you hit that snooze button today? Okay. How many of you hit it more than once? You hit it twice. How many of you hit it 3 times? Oh, no one did. Okay. See, that's even a marginal concept, right? What you're saying is this: when your alarm goes off, you hit the snooze button because you're making an economic choice. You're saying the benefit of staying in bed 9 more minutes, it's much greater than the cost of getting up and getting going. Now, that 9 minutes feels to me like about a minute, and it goes off again, right? So you're making that decision again. You're saying, all right, I think staying in bed another 9 minutes is greater than the cost of missing out on getting going or whatever else. But at some point, second time, third time, fourth time, you're saying, nope. Now I'm more awake. The benefit of staying in bed isn't as good. I'm going to get going. So you're doing these decisions all the time. And what helps in learning economics is starting to apply those decisions, those concepts to your daily life. Between your class sessions, think about, where do I make opportunity cost decisions? Whenever you spend money, you spend 10 euros on going out for having lunch. What could you have spent the 10 euros on or saved for? When you spend a half hour doing something, what else could you have done with that half hour? Without judgment. Don't say, oh, I should have spent that half hour studying, or I should have spent another half hour with my family. Or what. Don't put a judgment on it. Just make awareness of it. It'll help put these concepts to life and come more real as we study and learn some of these. Anybody else have other examples or thoughts on this?
I do have a question,
Sure.
because the marginal thinking, it's sort of the point when the benefit of something is not greater anymore than the cost of the other thing.
Right. Some unit increment that changes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's the marginal point of I don't understand the marginal thinking.
It's marginal is just breaking it down to units. It's on the margin. At some point, at some increment, your decision changes. It stays, it does this of an ongoing activity, but as these units or increments or increase, eventually this changes. So right now, if it's like this, you continue to do it. You're out at a party, every half hour you're saying the benefit of being in the party is greater than the cost, so you continue to do it. That's a good economic decision. But at some point, people are leaving, it's getting late, you're getting tired. You're saying at some half-hour increment, somewhere, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours later, it changes. And so you stop doing it. You're not out of the party anymore. You decide to change. That's what this is saying.
Okay, thank you. I get it.
Yep. Good question. So this leads to, I'm just going to briefly talk about the production possibilities frontier. There's a video on Moodle you can see. But what this leads to when it comes to not us doing things like this, but production, is, and I'm using an example from a previous book, not this book. You can have cupcakes and layer cakes. It's a little bit further. It's called the production possibilities frontier. This will become important a bit later when we talk about, actually already, I think next class or next 2 classes, when we talk about decisions of countries for trading and such, okay? What we have here are, this is more micro in this case, I'm talking about a business. And a business can, with their resources, produce either cupcakes or layer cakes, right? They have the similar machines, they have the similar ingredients, okay? And what it's saying is that because of limited resources, scarcity, they can make 48 cupcakes and no layer cakes. So use all their resources to make cupcakes. But they can reallocate the resources to make layer cakes. So in this case, it's a straight line production possibilities frontier. And what we're saying is that for each additional layer cake, we need to lose 12 cupcakes. So what we have here is each time we make another layer cake, we have to give up 12 cupcakes. So the opportunity cost of making layer cakes is 12 cupcakes. This is showing the economic concept of scarcity and opportunity cost and marginal thinking. It's saying, what is the benefit and cost of each additional layer cake? The benefit will be the money you get from selling it, but the opportunity cost is you can't have cupcakes. It's also saying that this production possibilities frontier is the most efficient and maximum output you can make. You could produce here, but that's inefficient. You're not using all your resources fully. And you cannot produce here outside unless you get more resources. So you're limited to this. It is called the production possibilities frontier. Now, most of them are curved, okay? The video that I have on Moodle, you'll see later, most are a curved production possibilities frontier because not all resources are equally able to produce goods and services. But in this case, we're using a straight line just for the concepts there. Is that a refresher? Have you seen this before? Hopefully you've seen this because this is just a refresher on that. Again, I got another video of this if you need more information on that. Questions on this? I'm going to talk about two more concepts and then give you a short break, and then we'll work on online stuff. So, all right. Let's see. All right. Let's say I did an experiment and I measured how much Red Bull was sold at the FH. So I'm going to say, let's see, we'll do a price, quantity. It's for Red Bull. At the FH. In the vending machines, you know how they have the vending machines selling Red Bull. So let's say the price was price is $2.50 and the quantity sold is 10. And this is the second week of August. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, let's talk numbers between the US and Europe. All right. The Americans switched the decimals and the commas. Here, I'll make it more clear. So when you're working with the online book, any kind of problem solving, things that come up or numbers, understand that the EU and the US switch the use of commas and decimals so that it doesn't get you too mixed up. That was hard for me when I was in Germany my first time and working on a spreadsheet doing the calculations. It wouldn't work. So understand that. Also notice Americans just do this for one, Europeans do this. I kind of mixed them up a bit, so just be aware of those little differences. Okay, so I measured at the FH, there's one vending machine. The price is $2.50 for the Red Bull, and we sold 10 of them. Now it is I'm going to raise the price. I raised the price and I sold more. That's cool, isn't it? I should raise the price again and even sell more, right? Does that make economic sense? Raising the price, I sell more? No, as you may recall, the law of demand, as price goes up, we sell less. But why did this happen? Why was it that I sold more at a higher price this week than we did in August? The idea of association versus causation. I raised the price and the quantity went up, but that is just an association. That did not cause that change. What's the difference between the second week of August at the FH and this week at the FH?
But there are students.
Yeah, there's a lot more students here, right? There's none here. You guys are closed, and just some people are working, right? But now students are here. If I didn't change the price, I probably would have sold more. So what happens, we have to be very careful of this. We have to be careful where we see a change that we lead to saying, oh, that's a causation, when something else could be causing that change. So in economics, whenever we talk about certain things like we raise the price, quantity bought will go down, that assumes no other change is going on. See, I can't have this change going on at the same time. So we have to assume what's called ceteris paribus, Latin phrase meaning all else remains unchanged in order for that to work correctly. So that's a basic from microeconomics, basically saying that whenever we make a statement like that, law of supply, as price goes up, we produce more, assuming no other changes happen. When we raise the price to consumers, they buy less, assuming no other changes happen. So just these basic concepts are important to keep in mind as we talk about the tools we'll use in the macroeconomics piece when we talk about international macroeconomics. Questions thus far? All right, since we're online, let's just do a 5-minute break. When I'm at the FH, I know I have to give a 10-minute break or so because everybody runs the Bila to get something to eat. But right now, let's just start back on at the top of the hour. That would be 5 o'clock, right? 1700 hours, right, for you, right? 5 o'clock. Let's start back a minute after. Now it's a minute after. Finish up on some concepts, and then we're going to work on the online content the rest of the class period, okay? So take a few minute break, and we'll come right back. All right, so let's go back to here, the screen. Just really quick, I won't talk so long on it. We'll be using McGraw-Hill. If you're watching this recording and you need the code, you got to come see me next class about that. The recordings are here. Here's a glossary that can help with some definitions. We got a research report coming up. You could take a look at the research report, and you want to work in groups of 2. You can do it alone if you want, but I highly, highly, highly recommend you work in groups of 2. It makes it much more enjoyable to do that. You'll be doing a presentation last day of class, so it's really highly recommended that you find someone to work with together. Here's some information and stats for you that you can use and such. Again, group work is okay. Make sure you're responsible for your own learning and such. That's what's really important. What I'm going to ask is that between now and next class, you go in here and say who is who for study groups. What I want you to do is put your name, your email address, country you're from, study area, and good days and times for you to meet. I know a lot of you don't know each other very much, but if you can find someone to study with for this class will be really important. We're doing a lot of work before I'm there. And so having someone to study with, someone to work with on this country project is really important. So please today, during the time that we have, put that information there, find a group partner. It'll be really important. You can also try to find a country you want to do the report on. You can go in here, you can sign up for a country. Do not add any countries. I've pre-selected the countries I want you to consider. 2 names can be by each country. Let me just go here now.
Could
And
you
all you
perhaps
gotta do is
give a
click
little
the page.
insight on-
I'm sorry, go ahead. Mhm.
I'm sorry. Could you perhaps give a little insight on what the report is going to be before we choose a country?
Yeah, so look at that document. There's right above there. You can read what the document is. It's just basic data and stuff. I don't expect you to know a lot of this yet because you're going to learn it, right? So you can have some time to choose your country. You want to pick countries, one, that you have some interest in to begin with, and then two, that isn't super difficult to get data. For example, you see I don't have Cuba on here or North Korea or whatever else because they're a little bit more difficult to get data from, okay? So what I would suggest you do is read through that report that's going to be done, and I'll talk later. This is not a huge comprehensive report. The report's usually about 4 pages long in total, 4 or 5 pages long, with the charts and things like this. So it's more just research report that you can show the data and things like that. I'll give you examples later on and such, but go ahead and read through you should read through the syllabus and that report expectations, which is right above, right here. Take a look at that between now and next class. This is not due until October 19th, so we got some time to work on things. You can decide, based on these countries, just enter your name next to the country you want to work on, you and your group partner. You get to decide. Oops, go back here. So now you're going to have assignments on McGraw-Hill. As you notice, here's a video on the production possibilities curve you should watch. Here are PowerPoint presentations. I tend not to do those in class, but you can use this for review as you do the book activity and such. Next week, we have some more activities that'll come up. You'll see that, but don't worry about those right now. I keep it hidden because I don't want you getting there now. So I think, stop share. Share one more thing here. Just so you're aware, we're gonna sign up now for the ebook. I will put a payment code in the chat. Everyone should get signed up right now. I want to see everybody getting signed up. Use your FH email address when registering. Do everything on Chrome, on a computer, not a mobile device. For this online stuff on McGraw-Hill, there will be at least 180 points available, but only 100 points are needed to get 100%. So if for some reason you miss an assignment or whatever else, it doesn't hurt you significantly. Between now and next class, you can get actually 65 points. Between now and probably the next 2 weeks. I should probably say the next 2 weeks. But it'll tell you how many points everything is. There are no points for late submissions. So deadlines for assignments, not the quizzes. Quizzes will come up later. Can be extended at most 3 times, but you have to give me at least some notice. You just can't say, like, I don't know, right now, can you extend it to tomorrow? If it's past due date, it's too late. You got to tell me before the due date that you need an extension for some reason. I'll assume extension of 24 hours unless you ask for more hours or something like that for it to be done. So for you today is to complete the who's who. Talk about yourself, see who you'd like to study with together, complete the introduction activity on McGraw-Hill. Right now, before we get registered, get the Read Anywhere app for your mobile device. It'll give you access to the book on your mobile device. It's better than the online book, actually. So let's take a moment now, and before you get registered, you'll need your registration information to log in, but let's get the Read Anywhere app. Let's take a moment and get that downloaded. The McGraw-Hill Read Anywhere app for iPhone and Android. Oops. You don't need to sign up yet. I'll take that off. We'll look at that next week if you need. So I'm just giving a moment for everybody to get the Read Anywhere app on your mobile device. Students have told me this has helped them a lot with looking up stuff in the book and such. So next is let's get on McGraw-Hill. What I'd like you to do is click on this link, McGraw-Hill Connect Assignments. Click here or copy paste this link into your browser. And again, this is day 1 or week 1. Click here, get logged in or get started, and I will start registering. I will put a payment code in the chat momentarily. I need to stop share first. Now I gotta find it. So once you register and get in, when it asks for a payment code, I just put the payment code in the chat. I'm going to pause recording here while everyone's doing that. What I'll do is I'll let you share screen, so if others are having that issue, that they can see it also. Let's take a look, and then I'll let everyone go and then get going. But I'll let you share screen if you'd like.
Can I write?
Go ahead. What's that? You can screen share what you're seeing.
Okay. I see it like this. I don't know
Okay.
where is the book.
So see that menu thing? Click on that.
Menu?
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing it like this. So now click on classes. And then our class.
Ah, okay.
I
Here
don't
it is,
know.
right?
Yeah, I don't know why that happens sometimes with some browsers and stuff, but yeah, I'm glad you showed that to everybody, but that can come up sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of curiosity clicking around sometimes going, and like sometimes, oh, also be aware of this first thing you have to do. You have to click submit. Okay. It'll say you've completed the activity, but there's a submit button on the upper right of the first activity you do. You have to click that for it to move forward. So remember, once you've completed the first assignment, you must click submit. The SmartBook activities, I think, are smart enough to know when you're done. I'm not sure, but you'll see how those work. I'm glad you brought that up, Victor. Thank you. All right, other questions? All right, what I'm going to do is I'll end the record. I'm going to end the recording now. We'll see you all next week, but then I'm going to stay on for those who need help with something. Come on back. Otherwise, I'll let the rest of you go to work on things. But again, we'll be on next week on same time, same day, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next week at that same time. Okay. Well, I hope you like some of how my teaching style is. It's interactive. I want to ask you questions. I want engagement. That's really important. I know it's harder to do on Zoom, but we'll do more of that when we're in class too. But that's how it'll work for the next few weeks. All right. All right, thanks everyone. I will end the recording now.